It's time for the Scandinavian showdown. Where else but Malmö, Sweden for this one with DreamHack Masters, as Astralis vs NIP are about to clash over a best of 3. This isn't going to be easy for either of them, and one of them will not be seeing the Malmö arena, will not be hearing the roar of the crowd from the stage, as one of them's going home with their tail between their legs. The answer of who that will be is about to be hopefully determined by myself and the desk. I'm your host, Alex Richardson, and we've got ourselves a little bit of time to try and break this one down, gentlemen. You already said yesterday, it was the kind of last words out of our mouth was this will be the biggest game of yesterday. It's going to be hard to top the Chinese side beating the defending major champions, but they're going to give it a good go. Duncan, starting with you, set the scene. NIP Astralis, this is a historical matchup.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the interesting things about this particular matchup. It's like what I always tend to say when Virtus.pro play series. It feels like whenever they play another great team, it's almost like time stops, and it doesn't matter what the current form is. Both teams play like their classic styles, and they bring like the best out of each other. And that's why, for example, when Virtus.pro plays Astralis, it's always an amazing matchup. Doesn't matter who's up, who's down, who won the most recent tournament. And so there is always the factor whenever Astralis plays NIP, even though at the moment Astralis, much more consistent team in the world, many more top 4 finishes, making out of every group stage, even deeper runs at the major now. Whenever they play NIP, there is always that little factor there where they remember part of the reason they used to get their hearts broken in the semi-finals and quarterfinals of tournaments is because it was NIP they always used to draw. And so I think that is always there in the back of their mind. They've kind of got that like little brother to big brother like rivalry. It's like they still want to overcome over NIP. They still want to beat them. And so even though I think Astralis is a better team than NIP, a much more well-rounded team, I still think that's there a little bit in the back of their head. But the problem for NIP obviously is they're not at that elite level at the moment. So they have to be able to essentially be in the game enough to make that a factor, because if Astralis can just run over them, then it's not going to be a kind of a psychological problem, I think.
NIP may not be in the best form ever, but neither are Astralis. It feels like both of these kind of old dogs have got a lot to kind of improve on coming into this tournament, when you say Janko.
I feel that NIP didn't show up on day 1, Astralis didn't show up on day 2, basically, and both teams have looked different in the days where they actually play well. It's kind of hard to rate NIP at the moment because they've been playing really well online, but that's online. But for me, it's not the results they have, it's the fashion in which they're playing. There's obvious improvement, obvious changes since bringing in Threat. In Katowice, even though they didn't make it past the group stages, they had some really close games, some good results. Then at the major, they had to play with Threat instead of Pit, so you can't take much away from that either. I actually think this is going to be a great matchup, and historically, this Danish lineup has always struggled against NIP, even when they were objectively a much better team. I think the loss at Cluj is going to haunt them forever, because at that point the Astralis team they've been arguably the best team in the world. They were probably the #1 favorites to win the whole tournament, because Fnatic was in a slump at that time and so on, and NIP just came up with a vintage performance like it was 2013 all over again and swept them 2-0 off the server. So with these two teams, you can never know for sure.
Well, talking of old NIP, of course, we're Robin. We want to know your thoughts on this one. Astralis, NIP, who is in the stronger form at this point today here in DreamHack Masters Malmö?
I mean, technically, it should be Astralis. But knowing the matchup between these two teams, it's always NIP that has the upper hand. I think the only time really that Astralis really beat NIP in a best of 3 is last year face-off finals with the run that was actually, I think that was the tournament, the first tournament that Astralis won.
That was the second, but they also beat the PGL as well.
Oh yeah, there we go. So that was the breaking point for Astralis in starting to beat NIP. Yeah, sure, we've seen some them beat them in some best of 1s. A little bit online, but NIP was also the team that beat Astralis when they had that little run online. I can't remember how many games they had. Like I had 20 win streak or something. Astralis
like
online.
Or something.
Yeah, and NIP just beat them like 2-0. So yeah, I think stronger team right now, Astralis obviously, but I think NIP. I think they would have preferred to play Astralis here rather than Dignitas today.
I mean, we saw what happened last time NIP and Dignitas met. That was a very surprising result. I mean, 16-3, if I'm not mistaken, over on Overpass, and that leads quite nicely. I want to start the map discussion quickly, because sometimes we don't get enough time to talk about it. The vetoes may not be necessarily ready, but with these two teams, maps are going to be a big factor, right, Duncan?
Well, one of the good things Astralis always has in their pocket is that they have this really wide map pool. They only have one map that's the permaban, which is Cobblestone. Sure. But actually, I was talking to Carrigan today about this, because I was saying to him, you know, Cobblestone isn't really a NIP map. That's not a map they're confident in. So you could actually even gamble here and try and get an edge from the very beginning of the map veto. I said to him, if I was you, I'd actually gamble it. I wouldn't even ban that. In fact, I'd just go and put my ban onto Cash. You saw what happened yesterday on Cash. We know Cash is good for NIP. That's the way you can then force them, because then NIP has the choice. Do we pick Cobblestone knowing in theory it's not a good map for the Astralis guys, but it's not our best map either. I kind of like that, you know, if you're facing someone where you always have confidence issues, put them in an uncomfortable situation. Or the NiP ignore it entirely, which is ideal for you anyway, and then you've gained a little advantage in the pick ban. Now, the problem is, I know that Karrigan's philosophy is more along the lines of, like, he wants his team to be comfortable. He doesn't go with that, like, Fnatic style of we'll pick into their weaknesses. So instead, I actually feel like they're probably going to stick with the cobblestone ban, and instead, they're going to just go for something along the lines of, like, I think they'll probably pick something like Train, maybe. It depends on what NiP's ban is, really. But
you're shaking your head, Rob.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, like, just basing off of the major, what Karrigan said, they will never pick a map like Train. Never. It will leave it on the third. I think they will stick to the regular ban they have, which is Cobblestone. I think NiP... I agree with you. NiP will, if they can, they will pick Cash. NiP will probably pick Overpass or ban Overpass, and then Astralis Cobblestone.
The thing is,
NiP will pick Cash, and then Astralis. This is a little thingy, because I think Train might possibly be the third, but I also think that Astralis might actually maybe pick Inferno.
So NiP's ban always is Overpass, so obviously Astralis is very good on Overpass, but the thing is, this is also where Astralis, now you're starting to see what I mean by, even though them being the better team, they have this mind game there, and the mind game is against them. So for example, normally if you're Astralis, you should be like, okay, great, well, let's look at the teams. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll pick Mirage here. But then, you know, NiP was pretty good on Mirage recently. That's what they actually started getting rolling on land. So do you want to put them on a comfort map as well? That's why personally, I mean, NiP picking Cash here is obvious. Like I said, basically, it was going to be picked unless Astralis took the gamble and picked ban, which they didn't. Yep. So actually, on the upside, Astralis knew this was coming. So they knew that's coming. Now they have a lot of choices, though, because actually, I don't know what the obvious choice is, because with no Overpass, all the maps that are strong for them, Train, Mirage, like, do you go with any of those? Do you go with Inferno as like kind of like a niche pick? Like maybe NiP won't be that good on it, but we're pretty good on it. That's what they've gone with in the end there. So I actually think, at least in that sense, it shows that they're not just going to go purely for their own comfort here.
And now you wouldn't be surprised if Train turns up as a third, yeah.
I think Train or Mirage are probably the one that we're going to see here. So I'm trying to think in terms of NiP, which one they'd rather not play. I actually think they'd rather, Boom. I would have thought they'd rather Mirage be the case, but they're going to opt for Train. Maybe because of, like we said here before, I mean, we've seen a few games now where, despite being good on Train, it is one that it seems like the nerves or the mental block can get to the Astralis guys.
I would have loved to see the veto. Who actually vetoed away Mirage?
Yeah, exactly.
Or was it the choice between Astralis? Was that the last two maps and Astralis picked Train? Because if they did, that's great.
Because I was just wanted to kind of come back to that point, this discussion around being good at a map, and I've got confirmation Astralis did remove Mirage.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. That puts a smile on your face. How does a team that continues to be good at a map not pick it? I know we explored it a little bit yesterday, but so Astralis, they're comfortable on Train, but they will never choose to bring that map into the forefront, the first two maps. Janko?
It comes down to confidence in the team, right? Sometimes objectively you feel that, I think that's the next step that Astralis needs to take to kind of squeeze their way into maybe the top 3 and so on. They need to be able to pick Train against teams, because not every team plays it to really well. Like, it's something you could maybe pick against Luminosity even. You probably don't want to pick it against Na'Vi only and VP, and that's it. You can play against everyone else. So it's a problem with how the players themselves feel. Maybe they don't feel individually confident anymore. I know that Karrigan himself, when they were really good on Train, one of the main reasons was on the CT side, he was the guy playing close to mid behind the Train, and he felt at one point that he was being countered, that people, you know, have figured him out and so on. Right. Then he lost a bit of confidence, and them as a team didn't want to play it anymore and so on. So I think it comes down to the players themselves.
And just sticking with you for a second, Janko, Cash, the discussion and agreement on the desk was that it's probably NiP's best map at this point in time. Since the arrival of Threat, they've really innovated. What do we have to look forward to from NiP on Cash?
Well, obviously, they have really good set strats here, and they're also, you can see that they have a really good game plan on this map. We saw it against Launch, so they will, whatever they decide to do in the beginning, they will work around it later on in the half. So let's say they're putting pressure towards the B bomb site with Getright and maybe the rest of the team behind them. That was something, I think they played an online game in Pro League. I'm not 100% sure, but Getright was winning rounds by himself, getting both kills on the players on the B bomb site.
I remember that.
And then you use that, you exploit that, you bait a reaction from the CTs, they put more emphasis on that bomb site, and then you can work around, then you can maybe go for A or fake that you're going A, because that is the obvious step, right, after you've been putting pressure on B. And I think with the addition of Threat, that's what NiP has right now. They have really good game plan, a lot of depth on their T sides. They're not afraid to go for some explosive plays on one hand, but on the other hand, they can also slow it down really well and have some set pieces with Molotovs, flashes, smokes, and so on. And I feel that this is a problem for Astralis, that Cobble is their their go-to veto, because NiP then can pick cash straight away. And NIP against Astralis, they will ban overpass, but against some other team, they probably won't, as we saw against Dignitas. So NIP has more flexibility there, so to speak, and that's why I have to give them the edge in this series as well, because I feel like cash is their map. And then on both, maybe not on Train, but on Inferno, I can see them beating Astralis as well.
Okay, keep that in mind. We've addressed a lot of the NIP individuals. I mean, the main discussion we often have in the online leagues up and coming to this one is that Forest has been having a fantastic build-up towards these tournaments. He's been playing incredibly online. Even with an AWP in his hands, we've been very impressed to see what Forest is delivering. On the other side of the coin, Astralis. Now, Device. I'd like to start the Device discussion. I'm looking at you, Duncan.
Okay.
An individual that no one's going to doubt that he has incredible individual skill. But where does it go? Okay, like on these occasions when Astralis do get to these heightened points in tournaments, why is he falling off? Well, we don't see this from other players.
I mean, he's even addressed this himself. Like, what gave you the insight, okay, was the period of time where it seemed like he'd gotten over this.
Okay.
Because when he'd gotten over this, then he felt comfortable saying, oh, you know, what I think I changed was, he actually said on Twitter that he'd had a discussion with Devilwalk, the old support player of Fnatic, and the Devilwalk told him, like, basically all you have to do is, you have to just play purely to win. You have to put yourself in a situation where you can win. And you don't think about whether you're going to win, you don't think about what's going on. Whereas before, what he was doing was he was trying to be too defensive. He was thinking, I'm really nervous now, so what I'll do is I'll just try not to ruin the round. And the problem with that sort of mentality is if you're the star player, it is your responsibility to take like a risk that will then win the whole game for your team. If you're in that situation where the key point to make is, this doesn't matter in like just a normal group stage game or against a no-level team, because you could actually put yourself in a safe position there, and then they'll probably make a mistake and you just win the round anyway.
Probably even smart.
But against really, really good teams, and against, especially if you're like deep in tournaments like you see semi-finals of a major, you're only playing teams at that point in time who can exploit your mistakes. So sometimes to not make a mistake, and that's just to not make a play, is a mistake in itself. You make room, and we saw, especially on Inferno against Na'Vi at the semis, at the major, that was essentially what turned the whole series around. He played defensively the last couple of rounds. As a result, the Na'Vi guys were like, great, there's an opportunity, we'll take a hold of that, and the series shifted in that sense.
It can be heartbreaking to watch. We have to start pushing for predictions. So with that said, Duncan, where are you giving this best of 3 to?
I'm going to go Astralis 2-1. Like, I do think NIP can put pressure on them. I think it's a great to start on cash. That's very, very good for NIP.
Astralis.
So I think NIP can get cash, but I think otherwise, despite the problems in the past, I think Astralis is going to prevail, and I think Train being the third, as much as they might not like it, I think it's better for them than it is for NIP. So I think that can be their safety ground, their kind of safety net at the end.
What about you, Janko?
I feel that NIP is going to overcome Astralis here, but if that's to happen, it kind of has to be 2-0, because if Astralis manages to win either Cash or Inferno, in my opinion, they are the favorites on Train, so I am going with NIP 2-0.
Doubting NIP on Train. Robin, finally.
Yeah, I mean, I see NIP winning Cash. Inferno's a little bit of a coin toss for me, but coming into this prediction, I've been wrong today. I've been wrong yesterday.
Okay.
I can
go
take
for
that,
3.
you know?
Okay.
I'm going to go for 3.
You still get paid at the end, that's all that matters.
my Swedish brothers to win. And
good lad.
2-0.
You can celebrate with some SNES later. But with that said, NIP do have the edge on the desk. We're going to be seeing if they have the edge in the game. Of course, we're going to once again hear what the boys had to say, see if that confidence was oozing from them as they spoke to us earlier on today. And after that, your casters are ready. Henry and Sado, enjoy this one.
I don't think we would be where we are today without Threat. I think he's changed everything. He's done so much work. We started from almost square one, even though we played with each other for over 3 years. We started from square one.
Facing NIP going to be pretty tough for us, I'd say. It's not really the opponent we would prefer to play if we had to pick a team. I guess the history with NIP goes far back with a lot of losses to them in very important tournaments, and in general they have, I don't know, they have some kind of a dominant mental advantage on us. At least that's what they claim themselves.
I definitely think that Pitt has found his place in the team. We're getting along super well. He's a really funny guy, so I mean, we're pretty easy to work with. Everything is just working out really great so far in the team.
For this tournament, I'd say reaching the finals is definitely the goal. Since Fnatic is on here and Na'Vi is playing without guarding, I'd say that we're one of the 3 contenders to actually win the tournament.
This tournament is absolutely winnable for us. We just need to get our game together, get the momentum rolling, and start winning games.
Why we're playing this game is to be the best team in the world. The final is at least where we should go.
Well, Henry, I'm going to score later when we go back to the hotel because, you know, we're both in that hotel. But if you guys want to score right now, there is an esports app. It's not Tinder. You can score on that one too, but go to the Score Esports. You can get the scores in the game. and then go on Tinder and get scored later. This is a good one. We have a little rivalry between these two teams.
This is a bit of a doozy. Yes, you're the big Astralis fanboy famously, and I sort of like NIP, so I guess we've got something going on there. A little bit of a storyline behind the desk as well. How do you feel this one's going to go down, Matthew?
You always like nips. I think that there's been a lot of upsets today, so NIP, you know, if they're the underdog in this, maybe it's their chance. They're on home soil. Godsent already representing the Swedish flag in the quarterfinals, but we'll see if NIP can get back in there.
I've got a really good feeling about NIP going into this. We saw what they can do recently online, as Janko was saying. Like the way they've actually changed their game. Obviously, it is online results, but the way they're actually approaching the Counter-Strike as a whole is actually very impressive so far. They've thrown away everything they used to do last year and actually changing it up and showing us that they can keep up with the current meta. And Threat seems to have so much impact on their game style. The last time these guys met was actually at Cluj and Poker, on LAN at least, and you saw NIP does have some sort of moral advantage over them, it seems like. Every time they go head over against each other, it's Astralis that seem like they don't really arrive. So I'm really feeling this for NIP. They actually got to legendary status even with Threat at the major, and they're looking to actually show they can keep up. Both of these teams have had difficult results at this event, both dropping to Dignitas, in fact.
Yeah,
which was surprising.
It's amazing at Dignitas, because we talked about this. Start of 2016, let's not forget, they were the emerging team.
Yeah.
They came out of the Christmas break looking so good. Dignitas did so well in Pro League. Excellent start, and then the two lands, they kind of fall. Leipzig was all right. They did beat VP, but they were in a bit of a slump then themselves. But then they failed to qualify for the major, despite being the favorites going into the qualifier. And
sure.
Copenhagen Games don't even make the finals.
That's crazy.
In a tournament that's tier 2 teams, you know, Hellraisers ended up. Yeah. So shocking that they didn't, and then everyone starts to doubt them. They make it through here. But here's an interesting thing.
Okay.
We always talk about Fnatic, group stage struggles they build into a tournament. We also talk about Astralis, incredible in the group stages, arguably the best team always in the group stages of anyone. And then they fall short late. This is a new meta, and I talked to Dupree last night. I said, hey, congratulations, you lost in group stages. He laughed and said, don't worry, I have the exact same thought.
That's kind of interesting thought, actually. But let's talk about the maps coming up, right? Cash. This is kind of hit or miss for Astralis, right? Like, we saw them at the major taking this against Fnatic, like 16-8 or 16-5, I can't remember which way around it was, but it was a heavy victory. And then they actually played this yesterday, and they looked pretty weak on it. It's always a map I've said, Astralis, to me, they're so inconsistent on it. It seems like their T side, it needs a lot of work. It seems like they're relying heavily on their top players to perform big actual deliveries in terms of frags, and their executions for me aren't actually that spot on.
I mean, we talk about execution in NIP and then just sort of how they've been revitalized. This is a map that could be one of those maps. It's very smoke-based. Threat has brought a lot of smoke and execution to this team, so
yeah, I mean, in your back pocket. That was a problem for NIP, right? They never had those.
Exactly, and this is where I think this is a great map actually for them in this sense. We'll see if Astralis can make it work.
We are going to be going into the pistol. The first map will be Cash, Astralis versus NIP, and we talk about this execution. It's not going to happen this time. NIP with 5 sets of armor here on the T side of Cash, looking like they're going to be sending a little fake in the form of Get Right towards the B storage. He's waiting for any sort of approach coming in. But it's going to be slowing things down, waiting for the aggression from the CTs. They've got 3 sets of armor and a smoke themselves. That's going to be on Carrigan. Actually 3 players in that B bomb side as well. Retake set up for the A side.
And Cajun pushed up in that corner. Is going to be hope to go undetected, but Dupree to bait them in. Carrigan back towards CT. NIP grouping to bust out of middle. Get Right just watching that there's not going to be any aggression inside of the B tunnels. Now, does that indicate that they want to hold the B tunnels so that they can try and get through vents? There's just still going to be an A split, and he's just going to play the lurk. Remember yesterday, they sold that fake with Get Right in A main. It was the first Weatherman segment that we had, and Yanko broke it down. This time they are going to look toward Highway. Freiburg does get to the vents. Forrest goes forward. They are going to go to the B site, and Exist is going to play the one on the off wing to try and catch any rotations. But again, Cajun B is still in this corner.
Device still scouting towards middle as well. Has spotted Freiburg and Pith. You can see if he can get the next shot here. He's going to be having a challenging. Oh, what a shot from Device to open things up. Cajun B finding kill as well.
Timing from Exist, though. Zipix has just started to rotate away. He's not going to be looking, and Exist is going to come around the corner from the truck. Easy shot onto him. That's going to pull NIP's attention back. And with that kill alone, because they know that they were spotted going toward the vents, because they know the rotation's going away from A, immediately the bomb goes up Highway, and Freiburg is going to get the plant. It'll come to another A retake.
CTs do have a kit on the Device as well, but NIP have got a decent chance of getting in the crossfires from A main, and Quad Exist watching the flanks as well. Device coming up towards Highway. He's looking for that kill on towards Forest. Next kill going to be huge. There it is. Carrigan takes him. Now it's going to be up to Freiburg holding towards Quad to find that next kill.
Freiburg actually hits Device out of that. Nearly gets 2 headshots. Dupree gets the response, though. Good shot from Exist. Has to play this from the long range. Bomb planted for him, but Dupree wins the duel. And it's going to be the defuse. Astralis pumped already.
It looked like NIP were going to go into that B split after losing those initial frags. Decided to opt back towards the A site. Did have ample time to plant and get a decent position as well. but just didn't have enough men to actually hold them off. Freiberg needed to find 2 at least from that core position. Wasn't meant to be, and Astralis do take the pistol there. So NIP, after getting the bomb down, will be taking an eco here and getting AKs in the third. We'll see the buy coming in from Astralis, actually preparing themselves for that AK round, Matt. They're not going to be getting any SMGs here. Full rifles across the board. They want to have a nice, clean round going into this one, keep 5 players alive, and then they have all their nades going into that round number 3. So I actually really like this from Astralis. Just the objective here, keep everyone alive at all costs. So you'd assume they'll be keeping things nice and long range, don't even give the opportunity for these P250s and Glocks to find any room for movement now.
Get right, it's going to get back out toward that toxic position again. Exist hoping someone's going to push through from mid, but no one will. Why would you with rifles? Why would you want to give them away? Pith just making sure his aim lock works. As he looks on Exist and gives a little wiggle.
Just making sure it works.
Yeah, just making sure.
Well then, time ticking away. NIP do have a smoke and a flashbang here, and they are favouring towards B. I'd assume smoke towards CT spawn and try and flash your way in. But occasion B in towards that vent area. He needs to be backing up dupreeh if required. And there'll be any moment now that NIP make their play towards the site as we hit the 50-second mark.
They're going to go on this. Remember, the vent's still occupied. Device going to be the first to spot this. That'll call for the rotation out of the vent. dupreeh drops, gets 1. He's at the back of the site. It's Cajun that finds Exist. Very, very well done.
Yeah.
Just waited. No one clears the vents, and he just has to pop out when they're all distracted elsewhere.
Yeah, clinical stuff there from Astralis. As I said, keeping 5 players alive there is key. They invested in the 5 rifles. They want to have maximum utility going into this round. They know the AKs are coming, and this is so strong for Astralis. Normally, the CTs have a disadvantage going into this round, as they have a lack of incendiaries, and you'll see fast boost coming in from the terrorists, but this is really strong. They can actually go towards mid and actually decide to face this and maybe get the delay onto them. So we'll see how they approach this next round. Of course, NIP have got those AKs. We'll be going to more of a default setup here. And we can see an aggressive push from dupreeh in towards the B storage area. He's going to be boosting himself up to the box. But no aggressive movements from NIP just yet. We have got Forrest making his way in A storage. This is Astralis challenging.
It's going to be Get Right that takes down Cajun, though. That's from the off angle. He's been playing that position, but Kerrigan's there for the trade. He gets dropped. Exists. He overextends and finds a second one onto dupreeh as well. Excellent job by him. Another B site given up.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much the round over at this stage as well. Device and Zipex coming in from CT spawn. You can see Forrest is all the way up to A still looking for those rotations.
And it's good that he's still here, because if they go for a save, he can catch them. And Pith doesn't have the bomb at B. So in the event that, not only if they save, if they can find a pick and be fast enough, then Pith could still run back knowing it's secure. But they're going to get there anyway. The smoke discourages Device and Zipex, and save looks to be the option.
You're absolutely right. The bomb will be planted towards B now, and Device and Zipex will be deciding to save. Forrest gets himself in a decent position, gets the first kill, and a lovely shot to finish it off as well. I have to say, I don't really agree with Astralis' approach to that round. They did so well to keep 5 people alive in the second, and then they had that full utility as well. They could have worked and actually played a default and actually played NIP in that sense, but they decided to go aggressive and face and take the Angels towards B storage, where you always have the disadvantage if the T's are holding for you, but lovely way for Forrest to finish things off then. That's going to be 2-1. NIP coming to life here in the third. So we do go into round number 4 with a 4 spy from Astralis. So 3 M4s, a UMP, and a 5-7 on towards Zipex. You'd assume now NIP with this money advantage will be taking those fast faces towards middle. It's going to be Get Right running through, taking down Device to open things up. And now they have got full mode control as well. dupreeh taking a lot of damage there. They did go for the boost, but denied. And now NIP can just hold middle. They can just bide their time. They don't need to really do anything at this point. Wait for the CT reaction to come in. They need to make the next move, as they have a lack of information here. You can see Kerrigan edging towards A main. He'll be looking to scout that out, and there it is. When you lose a man on cash, you really do need to be gathering intel and trying to get something back in your favor.
Good push up, though, from Kerrigan. At least it seemed, because if he finds that kill, that is what you have to do to get back into it. But he goes down. No one there for the trade, and things go from bad to worse for Astralis. Zipex on the 5-7 gets himself inside the site, at least to make it more effective up close. But needs to find the angle that's favorable, and NIP going to slow this down slightly. Molotov's flashes all going in. Zipex still has the angle held, does drop one. But they get the frag back immediately, and with 50 seconds, they have the bomb in position to go for the plant. Freiberg to do so. Cajun finding Get Right, though, does still give the retake a chance. No, they're going to fade away already.
Yeah, they don't have the kits here, and smoked out of position as well. There's no real options there but to save the weapon. So 2 M4s will be attempted to save here, but it's going to be difficult. You can see NIP are going to be working out the saves coming in now. I'm wondering if they're going to go for the hunt. Let's have a look at their cash going into the next round. They haven't built the strongest bank balance yet. I wouldn't say it's the worst idea in the world going hunting, but still, keeping the 3 AKs up is going to be very valuable for them going forward. So NIP wins 2 in a row there. And as I said before, if you know the CTs have a distinct lack of utility, don't have those incendiaries, that fast middle play is very viable for the terrorists to go through and try and get the first pick. Get Right is a massive fan of just flashing through that smoke and seeing if he can get that first pick. Does it this time. They get mid control, wait for the CT to make the next mistake. That was Carrigan pushing the A storage area. He got taken down, round over at that stage. And we have got a pause coming in now, and I think this is technical, not tactical.
Yeah, they're calling for admin on the NIP side. Just to clarify, that Exist does say it's not tactical.
Yes. So I'm sure we'll get this sorted momentarily. I think it's a small server issue going on.
Yeah, just a minor one. Apparently it's only for Exist.
Well, the score now is 2-2. Looking at the money for Astralis, he did save 2 rifles there. Could force into this if they wanted to. They are accumulating loss bonus now, but I would say probably take this one on the chin and see what you can do with those 2 rifles. It's going to be Dupree and Cajun. Definitely capable of finding initial kills and funneling the terrorists who have sights here. So we'll see how this one goes down. But I see the guys talking on the server out. I think it's still ongoing. Yeah, the headphones are off as if for Exist there. So we'll see whether this is resolved. I think he said he's got lost to the server.
I think, yeah, 5% loss. He says 1 to 5. It's going up and down. They asked actually everyone smartly from NIP's perspective so that they can help the admins. They asked everyone to check it. It's just Exist that has it. So probably just a reconnect for him. And he should be fine. Minor detail. Play on land for these reasons. Keep everything equal for everyone.
Indeed.
You're smirking about something, Henry.
What? I don't know. I was just smiling. I know that's a rare sight.
Very rare. You must have downloaded the Score Esports app last night, obviously.
I did, and that's what's made me
so
happy
had a good
right
night.
Now. I found it on the iOS and Android store at the same time. I downloaded it, got all the information I needed.
Because you have 2 phones.
Got all,
busy man.
Got all the statistics I needed, all the articles, and all this decent information.
Got to look at lots of great pictures.
Yep.
I'm sure you swiped through those pictures.
Yep, absolutely. Right every time.
Best way to get scored on your phone.
But it's yet to come back onto the server. NIP now 2 rounds in a row. The money's building. And as I said before, I think Astralis will be taking an eco here as Device does start to balance things out. He buys a CZ. We have got a 5-7 on Carrigan as well. So they won't be fully investing into this one, just doing a little partial buy while they wait for Exist.
Yeah, he should be, you think, pretty quick.
You'd hope so. Maybe we could get an update from someone.
Well, I mean, the update is he's just going to do a full restart. He might do a full restart of the computer itself, actually, as well, just to be sure. But there we go. The DreamHack water. It's magical, actually.
Do you like the flavored version?
Tried it a few times. It's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's alright.
It's a muted taste. It's not like it's very potent. It's just a hint. Tastes better than some things I drank this week. Don't know why you're laughing. I just, meant some of the drinks at the bar.
I thought you only drink water exclusively.
That is true. I've had only water this week.
So,
trying to get my liver back to a normal size.
Why? What happened to it?
Yeah, I just shriveled up like a raisin for some reason.
I can't think why. But Matt, this has been the tournament of upsets so far, hasn't it?
It's absolutely insane. It really is. I mean, when you look at the fact... Now, look, I'm not selling short any of these upsets. A lot of them are warranted. Godsend outplayed CLG, hands down. No question. It's not like they're just, bizarre scenarios. Godsend earned their way through. Tyloo as well played excellent. I think if you look at that, and again, not to take anything away from that, LG is going to lament the fact that they elected to try and practice cash in a live tournament. Which highlights the fact of how busy these players are. They have to try something different, but perhaps a little bit of underestimating their opponents, and it got caught out for it. So the 2 teams that go through that group, Mousesports and Tyloo, both of the teams that made it to the semifinals and the major champions go out in the groups. It's pretty ridiculous when you think about that alone. I mean, Liquid going down. Tyloo's an excellent story. Yesterday as well, though, Dignitas, like you said, topped their group, Astralis, hence why they're in this game now against NIP.
Well, it looks like Exist is coming back in. He's actually back on the server now, so the hype levels can begin to rise again as we go into the 5th round here. As I said before, Astralis won't be investing fully into this round, keeping their 2 M4s and seeing whether Cajun and Dupree can deliver. NIP obviously will have 5 AKs. Plenty of cash. His Pit has got 6k, so is Exist as well. So they could bring out the AWP if they wanted to. I think at this stage, probably not required. Keep themselves to the rifles. Someone could go for that MAC-10 as well, if desired. And the unpause is coming in now. So we've made it. This will be a big round for Astralis to pick up if they can. Definitely have enough to play with. They are going to be investing in some grenades as well. So 3 smokes, a CZ, and a couple of upgraded pistols as well. Let's see what KGB and Dupree can do with these rifles as we go into round number 5 here.
So we'll see if Forrest can find the opening as well. But like you say, just the 2 rifles. Forrest boosted up early. They're pushing. Does he spot it? Gets up close, and it's KGB that holds the angle. Spots him too easily as Forrest was scoped in. Didn't spot it at all, and Cajun falls away.
It's a decent read from Astralis. They went for those double nades towards middle of the start to stop that get-ray rush as well. And Cajun B just blasts the head off Forrest as he goes with the boost. He actually had the AWP as well, so interesting note that Exist will be picking that weapon up and trying to get back into this. So far, it's a perfect start to the round from Astralis. 5 and 4 in their favor. And the bomb down in T-spawn for NIP, so they're kind of working out how they adjust themselves after losing that initial map.
And the boost now on this A site for Cajun, but NIP down a man trying to figure out what's going on at the B site instead. Device with the CZ-75. Near the vents. Inside the vents, actually. It looked like he was just behind them, just below them, but has to fade away from this. Good Molotovs. 2, in fact, 3 in the nade. Brilliantly done from NIP. Look how full that room is. There was nowhere for Device to go. He run away from one, gets damage from the other. The nade takes him down, and now they can walk into B a little bit more comfortably, but there's still 2 players in the site. And it's Dupree and Kerrigan, which does mean there is 1 rifle in Dupree's hands.
Oh, what a shot from Get right there towards headshot. Takes off the head of Kerrigan. Now NIP have full mid control, making their way towards the vents as well. Cajun and Dupree will be waiting for them. That's the 2 M4s. Exist with the bomb, makes his way out towards Checkers. This next kill is going to be very important. If Dupree can find it, there's still a chance there.
Dupree can't. It's pith on an AWP, not something we often see, but makes it work. Smokes and Molotovs up toward Heaven. Cajun's on the inside of it, has a chance to peek, but he's going to fade away from this. Keep the M4 once more, try and build up the economy moving forward.
That's actually really nice play from NIP. Even after dropping that first pick, they were calm and collected, made sure they just took map control slowly but surely, used Molotovs perfectly to find that first kill on towards Device, and then Get right, a fantastic shot. He had a slow tournament so far, but that was absolutely stellar as he walked into the bomb site. I found a second as well. So Zipex and Cajun will be saving 1 M4 and a PT-50 here, unable to salvage the second weapon that was dropped. NIP do manage to pick up their AWP. So we'll have a look at the cash coming from Astralis next at our 3rd stage loss bonus. So $2,400 coming into the bank accounts into the next round. So it will be a reasonable buy, especially the fact they've saved the M4 as well. They'll help boost it and kind of spread the money around. And the only thing is, definitely wouldn't be able to get an AWP. If they were to force this, it would be FAMAS's, maybe shotguns. I think they will be going for a conservative approach once again. So NIP a chance to take another round here, pretty simply. Here's the replay of the Molotovs and all the nades being flying in towards the Checkers area, and that great shot from Get Right to seal the deal. Round number 6, just Cajun with that M4.
Fire up pistols around it, so they've got P250s and a 5.7 on Dupree to work with. Dupree also with the armor. Keep that in mind, and it's going to be an A stance from Astralis. No one even in the B side, 2 pushed up middle, and 3 directly in A itself.
Cajun's going for this boost as well. He's looking for that initial frag, and why not? Not going to be showing himself just yet, but that's the first frag coming from P. He takes down Zipex, and it's a great timing from Cajun B. Coming in, finds 2 kills as well in the A storage. Suddenly there's a chance. He's made something happen here, and NIP can't find some footing to get the frag back here, but finally, Firebug does find him.
I don't know why they're overcommitting to this. They're overfacing this because the advantage that they had is going to be completely taken back, and not only that, Get Right's gone into B. He's going to find out that's open. The bomb's going to head in that direction. It was so well done. You're right, the timing from Cajun B. It was all off that information from the early pick on A, but here we go. Get Right lurks, finds Device. Bomb going to join, and Kerrigan and Dupree not going to be able to do much. Does pick up a rifle, though, Dupree. That might just be enough to save it with 15 HP.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Save these weapons. You can see that Dupree's opted out of the round. He's on 15 HP. Kerrigan still fancies finding another frag here. He is now smoked out towards upper. Seeing if there's a gap available. There is a tiny one, but not enough to find a kill. And he will be just holding, seeing if anyone will be pushing him at this stage. I think if he can set that weapon just once again, try and boost the money, which has been a problem for Astralis in the last couple of rounds. That'll be fantastic for them. But I'd assume now we'll see the AWPs come out for Astralis. To your double AWP setup, they will have enough cash to do that. Cajun B and Device usually rolling with them on this map. Did NIP go up 4-2 there?
Kerrigan does at least get Freiberg on the way out. sticks on the M4. Perhaps didn't have the confidence to stick and grab that AK. Might have been either he's more comfortable with it, wants the smokes to, or excuse me, the silencer to go through the smokes, or just doesn't want the AK. You can take your pick. I would have grabbed the AK, Henry.
I thought you might.
Preferred if it was a, you know, a Gev, but I would have grabbed the AK. Device does get back onto the AWP this time, though, and that's all due to the fact that they just bought pistols out. They didn't go for the aggressive force that you said they might have with that from Oz. So playing the long game, Astralis, still early on yet, and this will enable a better buy in this round. Only one kit, though. Now, they take that back. Dupree's got one as well, but Device finds Forest. So Xyp9x and Dupree with kits, but this is a good early pick, and it's completely held because Pith wasn't in position at Squeaky to try and catch out Device as he fell back into the site.
Yeah, it's a nice aggressive push there from Device going towards that A storage area. Didn't flash in, waiting for Forrest to walk around the corner. He finds the pick and gets out with his life as well. Very aware that Squeaky Door could have been a possibility, but now man advantage, make it a double as Device gets his second. And Get Right just facing by himself. He actually drops the bomb towards the boost area as well, so they're aware that's where it is. So now Astralis can probably just sit back and not really have to do too much here. They still have smokes and utility. Frightbird does find the kill on towards Dupree. Dupree's pushing into B storage. I'm not sure I agree with that, Matt, whatsoever. The fact that you've got that two-man advantage, why do you need to push for more kills? Does that need to happen?
Absolutely not. I mean, his thoughts are trying that he wants to get behind them and get them
Yeah, they spotted
information.
the bomb, so that's why he's like, well, I can go get some more kills here. But he's now given them a window of opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And he tries to limit it to A, but gives it up in the process. So it's only a one-man advantage. Freiburg only on 5 HP. But Exist with the AWP is going to try and find an opening. He is looking in the right direction over top of that red crate, but smoke there in the crouch from Kerrigan. He won't be able to spot it. He's cleared off a few angles on his way through. Crucially, though, his name always makes me do that. Freiburg finds KGB as he lurks in through, and that actually opens up the B site, but Freiburg, low on HP, is actually going to go back. He's forced the rotation. That's the plan. That's the hope. Pith, he's got Xyp9x, and that push from Dupree, it may cost them because Pith has Kerrigan, and suddenly the round, a 5 versus 3, goes down to a 3 versus 1, and it's Device that has to pull this back. These are the kinds of rounds that Astralis, man, this is, I don't understand it.
It's really bizarre.
Wow.
At this sort of level as well, it's a game you're going up against the people that seem to dominate you in every single series, even though you are, technically on paper, I guess, a better team. And they're making really strange decisions like that, getting those first 2 picks. And most teams, like I said, fall back to the bomb sites, make the next move, use your utility, lock them out as long as you can. And that stage is an automatic win, but Dupree goes for the push, gives them the first frag, something to work with. They have to start peeling away and adjusting themselves, then NIP capitalize at that stage. It'll be 5-2. Astralis still have cash here. They're going to go for the double AWP setup this time. It'll be Kerrigan and Device, one of the weapons. Forrest watching for the boost, and there it is. Kerrigan does get that first pick, exactly the same as what Device did in the previous round. And suddenly finds Exist to kick things off. Let's see whether they can be a little bit more disciplined with this man advantage this time.
Get Right. Back in toward Toxic. This is where he started things off in the first gun round. Dupree's made it up behind the box at B. He's actually going to fall away from that. A little bit of spray comes back toward him, but he doesn't actually get caught. Different approach to the A side as well right now with Kerrigan in the open. It looks like he wants to try and get in toward A main. They're not playing the passive angles behind quad. But this is going to be a B from NIP. A man down, trying to execute him with an AWP in the hands of both Device and Kerrigan, but not on this side. It's an opportunity, but the rifle's up close if they swarm in behind these smokes. It'll be super effective, and Device actually going to get to heaven right now, so.
Yeah, they've got 3 players coming in, so NIP have got the work cut out for them as they make their way towards Checkers, trying to clear that area out first. We'll see if they can make anything of this. KGB going into face. They flashed him by the looks.
His flash, but they're both looking at vent. They're both turned away without even expecting the flash. Oh, wait, we heard that? Well, why don't we turn around and wait for the peek then? And it works out. Pith gets the kill again. Another entry for him. Forrest finds Device. That's the AWP down in heaven, and Pith is absolutely obliterating them on these entries.
You're absolutely right. They're both just looking at the vent and actually gifted themselves the kill by just being unaware that might be a possibility. KGB can't believe his luck there. So 2 players remaining, 4 on 2. Well, another man advantage thrown away for Astralis. And Kerrigan and Xyp9x will be saving their weapons at this point. It's going to be 6-2, but that's kind of crazy. If we can get a replay of that, that'd be interesting just to see exactly how that went down. It looked like that was actually the perfect idea for them to do as well. Just as they thought, okay, they're going to be walking in Checkers just about now.
We got this.
And that would have been such a sick flashbang had they actually been looking in that direction. That's so cool. That worked out for an IP.
I love how they both turn. Kerrigan's going to at least kill off one to save the AWP, but they now know where they are. I love how the reaction was literally from both of them. Oh, wait, that's a flash.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Hey, That's an interesting flash. Just turn around and get his free kill. And it seems like as soon as they gifted a kill back into the round, it seems for NIP to capitalize and swarm the bomb site, hitting all their shots. Seems like everyone's on form right now. And we go into round number 9. The money not in a great state for Astralis. Here it comes in the screen right now.
Okay, they both turn.
Yeah, they have no
check vents, check vents,
so
check.
Cool.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Cajun B's got to be gutted at that one. What? Why aren't you flashed? No.
Oh, man. I love little things like that. But here we go. Smoke out of middle this time. Astralis only saving the AWP. They did take out that M4 at the last second. And it's going to put that AWP at B. Kerrigan has to hit one of those shots. He shoots between two, but he gets the collateral to make up for it. Both go down. So it is 2 shots, 2 kills, but not in a traditional fashion. Look at Dupree as well. They get so flustered by that, they focus tunnel vision toward the back of it, that he pops out with the CZ-75, and Forrest suddenly finds himself against 4. Gets the shot onto Dupree, but Device has the AK picked up, and that makes up for it.
There it is. Astralis finally getting a bit of luck here. It's going to be Kerrigan going towards that B storage area. It was a simple contact play from NIP, hoping the orb wouldn't be there, but Kerrigan missing the first shot makes up for it with the double. Lovely stuff by him. Opens up the floodgates for Astralis. They capitalize, and now they get their money back on track as well. So 6 plays 3 now. Double orb set up back out for Astralis. And actually, Forrest dropping his orb this time. Here we go for the 5 rifle setup. That gives him a little bit more execute potential in terms of actual set pieces. We'll see where this decides to go here. More of a default play to kick things off. 3 players for Astralis towards middle. And it's actually all rifles as well, so they're keeping both the turrets in form of the AWPs towards either bomb site. We'll see how this one pans out. We can see actually GetRight's made his way towards checkers already. Undetected so far, but there's a player in the fence. It's kind of sloppy not to check that. It's a common position for Astralis to play.
Especially with 4 Molotovs right now, they're actually setting up at A. That's so easy to throw and try and flush it out so GetRight can catch him on the retreat.
Yep.
Get a free pick for it, and they don't even do it.
Yeah, they've got 4 Molotovs. You're absolutely right. Could have done that all day long.
There we go. Smokes out toward middle, though. We'll see if they can find a way back in. It's the 3rd round in a row they've given away the first pick.
But they seem to be winning the rounds regardless.
Well, one of them at least of those 2. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's still a problem for Astralis. So this time, thankfully, no one going to get over aggressive and give away that lead. Yes, Dupree, I'm looking at you.
I think he's learned his lesson now. He's in the B storage, but is sticking behind the box. Device will be baiting him in with that AWP. It's looking like we will be seeing an A-sided approach from NIP here. Forrest going to be smoking up towards quad. And I assume his teammates will do a similar thing towards highway, flash out, try and take the orbers out of the game.
This is where, so the double stack at quad right now, this is where they'd have those 4 Molotovs. If they deploy them both to the corner and the bounce, they'll clear both those players really quickly, but they elect to use them on forklift and not a smoke. So Cajun has full line of sight from the truck. They don't even check it. I mean, why buy these Molotovs if you're not going to use them to clear out the most common angles?
Well then, 3-on-1 now exists with 4 seconds remaining. He may die after the timer here. It's going to be very close, and you can see Device didn't want to pull the trigger. You could see it coming, but I think Exist made it just in time to get the cash. But there it is. Astralis finding that early advantage once again. It was GetRight towards the checkers area. As I said, you came up with a perfect point there. They got 4 Molotovs. He's calling on just about to walk in the checkers, but it's very well known. Astralis always have 1 player in the vents, I'd say, almost every single round. If a Molotov it up, or at least be aware that someone may be in there. It's kind of nuts they didn't check it, but regardless, Astralis once again get that man advantage, this time capitalizing. Double orb setup still running for them. And NIP still have enough cash to buy into this. This is the set pieces I'm talking about. When they have the 5 rifles, when we talk about threat coming into this, this is the kind of new stuff you'll see from NIP. All the smokes going into the A-bomb site. Maybe taking this boosting towards middle. Just to be Forrest, I guess he's watching for the lurks. And the flanks as they make them move into the sides.
And to be fair, I kind of harped on them for not using the Molotovs as well over at quad. They have this round with the smokes out. But I mean, they know Zipix plays up at the forklift. That's why they do it. But they had 4. They used 2, and they didn't smoke behind it. So it just seemed a little bit lackluster. This time better, though. See? This time they clear off quad. The player's forced to move. They have a smoke out at truck. They're able to get 2 inside of the site, and the execution much better. Device is forced back to the truck. He himself, though, does have this Molotov that can line up to deny default, but Freiburg already planting. It's a little bit late.
Oh, sick shot there from Forrest. He's looking towards middle. This guy is on point right now. Crispy shots there towards middle. Takes down 2, and now it's just going to be Device remaining with the AWP. That worked out perfectly. Full execution onto the bomb site with the smoke grenades. Waiting for the reaction for the CT. They make their way into the site, segregating the orbers from the map. And then Forrest is boosted up, looking for the rotations. He takes down 2. It's going to be Device battling to stay alive here. Not going to happen. NIP take their 7th round. And that's exactly what we're talking about, this 2016 new look NIP. They actually have these set pieces in their locker now
that one was much better.
to actually bring to the table when the defaults aren't working. So that's actually very impressive how that panned out for them.
Much, much better. 7 rounds now for NIP on Cash. Astralis going to the double op setup, trying to dig deep, find a way back into this, one of which is going to go to middle. That's Device.
Yeah, this is all the money expended now, though. So after this round, it would be on an eco if they were to lose it. But number 12 now. Different setup, no presence towards middle, really. Just got to Device with the AWP. Looking for any boost or get right. Flash pushes.
Smoke goes out deep at B tunnels. This should indicate to Get Right that they want to get control. There has to be a reason they're doing this. He's going to try and play it on the edge of the smoke, aware of that. Does spray through, but he goes down to 9. Even worse, he went down to 14 and then 9 after the shot came through the wall. Thankfully, that didn't drop him all the way. But he got good damage onto Dupree first. So pretty even exchange, ultimately. Smokes out 2 of them in middle. That's the wall, but they're not actually going to push toward the vent. If Get Right to pick that kill, maybe perhaps they would have pushed in quickly and tried to take out the last player who was also aggressive, but everyone fading away. That was close.
Device narrowly missing out on the headshot to exist, but they have got mid control now, and Noahs will be falling back to the A side, so he's going to sacrifice middle as a whole. It looks like NIP now will be adjusting themselves. They still have 3 smokes here, so could do a smaller execution as smokes out towards Quad and Squeaky. Close range, bouncing him off from main entrance and Squeaky door. And it looks like there will be 3 players going towards that area as well, so presumably Get Right's going to flash them in. He'll smoke off highway, and they'll try and bail onto the bomb site as quickly as possible. There's the smoke.
Good pick though, trade onto Cajun. Zipic's forced away from the forklift, has to go over and make up the lost ground, does get the bomb dropped, plays it, oh, on the edge of the smoke, he spotted him, but he doesn't get the kill, and it's actually Forrest and Get Right that managed to do so. You would have thought for sure that Forrest would go down. He's left to 4 HP, Get Right on 9. How quickly that could have turned, and suddenly Kerrigan has to clutch this out with an AWP at close range.
Kerrigan remains.
And look at Exist, the high HP player.
Yeah. He's in a perfect position there. Kerrigan can't check that all day long. He's walking around, probably the worst weapon to be in this scenario with. Going to be taken down from CT. That's a big round for NIP to win. 3 players towards the Squeaky door. You could see it kind of building up. Get Right in the A storage area. There's 1 smoke towards highway, 1 flashbang out, and it was quite a sloppy exchange. It seemed like Astralis were coming out on top of that, dinking everyone. Just unable to actually finish the kills off. 2 very low HP NIP players, but that was redundant once Kerrigan was coming in with the AWP. And Astralis now, after that double AWP investment, will be onto a pretty much full eco here. Desert Eagle is pretty much all they have to work with. It's on Cajun B. NIP are going to be aware of the situation. There's now 1.5. Scoreline is 8-4. And they're trying to push into A stores and see what they can do here. But so far, it's been a great half. In terms of just the individual skill NIP are showing, it seems like everyone's in some very good form right now.
Very, very good form indeed as Exist is just going to wait back and see if there's any aggression coming out from the pistols. Astralis are limited to. Device and Kerrigan playing a 1-2 position right now in toward A main with Kerrigan pushed all the way up to the door. Kerrigan will have heard Pith from that range. But NIP going to walk out middle instead with Freiburg.
Yeah, they're aware it's going to be an eco at this point. The fact they haven't had any confrontations whatsoever. Just stick together, making sure they're trading frags, not letting the CTs gain multi-kills in any scenario here. As they slowly but surely make their way towards B. It's going to be Get Right leading in from B storage. His teammates joining from Checkers. And here comes the execute, trying to find these initial frags. It's going to be Dupree that goes down first. Get Right finds him. Pitt finds a kill onto Zipex as well. There's 1 more remaining on the bomb site, and he is dealt with swiftly. Now 2 players remain. Kerrigan, Device rotating in.
Astralis, though, trying to get behind them. Get Right finds Kerrigan. Not so sneaky, mate. And his Device now waiting, just hoping to find the next kill with the USP. From that range, though, not likely. And Nip's going to hit 9 rounds on this T side. We build that up still like it's a T side or a CT sided map. Remember at the major, it was the average, I think, was like 10 rounds or something on this map on the T side, which was a bit abnormal. But by that statistic, Astralis isn't necessarily out of this by any means, but they definitely have a large job ahead of them. Freiburg with Device trying to lurk in late. He's going to get caught. It's actually Exist that holds the angle.
Well, very clinical round there for NIP, keeping 5 players alive, making sure they didn't have to rush any sort of situations or force the issue at any point, just sticking together, running a default, getting mid control, and then splitting B. Very textbook round from them. And we go into number 14 now. The buy is not amazing for Astralis. Definitely no double AWP potential here. Actually not even a single AWP. Got to be 5 M4s. They have got smoke grenades, no incendiaries, no kits. So still a big round and a heavy advantage for NIP going into this one. Right, showing his hand towards B. And to bait out any grenades CTs may have. You can see how blind they are right now.
Blind indeed, but Cajun does find Get Right through the smoke to start it off. It's been a while since they've had that early pick. Remember, it hasn't always warranted them the win.
Yes.
We'll see if it does this time. They're going to need it. Pith's going to go back toward the garage and grab the bomb. And Device gets out of middle. He actually gets a little more passive toward the Z connector right now, the Z connector, to be technically correct. Because America's not a thing. Not in this tournament, anyway. Just ask Moses. He'll tell you.
Okay. You went there.
Don't know why I had to make that about him, but I did.
I don't know why you did either, but still, let's keep going, shall we?
on Moses, nah, we'll let him go. We'll let him off this time.
I mean, keep going with the match.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Freiburg toward Checker has good positioning at B at least with 2 players though in the site. He may just be able to hold them there. They've got the wall of smokes out on middle, but it's not actually going to be a B hit just yet. As Exist pushes through them, clears out middle, and they'll go and have the space comfortably. Again, Device with that early pick went so passive on middle. He's over toward A. It's Zippix that's actually going to be rotating over toward B late. And he's actually still hesitant to get this information. Look at NIP. Look how close they are to this B site. And Astralis don't even know it yet. Peeking out, Cajun takes a dink. Now they've got information, but how many players and how close? Apparently 2 goes for Cajun B because Forrest finds the kill. Again, it's the early pick taken back as Pith. He's going to find Zippix and Dupree falls. And NIP on these executions, when they go into the sites with speed, it's Pith that's finding all the kills.
Yeah, he's doing tremendously well here. 2 frags for him now. The retake is on. Carrigan is going to be dropped from the B storage area. It exists to get that kill. Device remains out 3-on-1. Has no choice but to fall back here. So once again, you mentioned it, Astralis get that first pick, and this team can't hold on to it once they get established it. NIP just so good at dissecting that B storage area. Freiburg was the first player in. He actually did a great job of molotoving off towards headshot, smoking CT spawn, clearing out the bomb site for his team. Said, you know what, it's time to face. And he watched all the close angles that they made their way to the side as well. Very effective stuff. Great work from Freiburg to get them into the site. He didn't find any kills, but he did a lot of the work just to gain them that information and give them the all clear. They can just concentrate on the close range proximity of the site. So another round of Astralis. Going to have to save 1 weapon here. They go into the next round with $2,900. Device does save the M4, but it's still a difficult task, and it's looking like 11-4 in favor of NIP. They will have Famases, M4s, well, 4 Famases in fact, and 1 M4. No kits. Zipex still will be able to get a little bit of utility here. He's got the incendiary in the smoke, but it's another hard round for Astralis. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw maybe a boost or a flash into a storage trying to find the first pick here. They need something to work with. As Forrest is back on the AWP, you'd assume NIP will be slowing things down here.
Default smokes on both mid and A main.
Here comes the boost towards middle.
Well, can't see it for some reason. We're not in-game yet. We must have had an issue with the observer, but basically NIP
radio cast, let's go,
is going pretty loose with their strategy. Back to the default. They've got Pith out towards Squeaky with Exist waiting for a flash through on A main. Forrest watching the off angle if they do push it. Kerrigan and Zippix did push up mid. They had a smoke on top of it, and they got Kerrigan boosted. He's actually just, here we go,
back
on the other side of the boost from the CT perspective. So if Forrest doesn't read this, and if he times this similar to Cajun did in the early rounds, he could drop at the right time. But as I say that, Pith's already walked back from Squeaky and is looking at that direction. Forrest is now as well, and Kerrigan's been spotted.
Did you see how sick that was from Pith? He actually dropped a Molotov for the CT boost, as reading someone might be on the side of that, and forcing him to phase as well, get that first pick. He called him out saying he's having a great game so far. That was a very nice read. And they get the first kill in their favor.
Get Right has the auto sniper as well. He swapped it back out for the AK, so he elected to buy it really early, watch that B tunnel in case they pushed, and then used the extra money left over in this 15th round to buy an AK and go back and grab it. Now they can execute.
They still have 35 seconds, and they still have tons of grenade. Look at NIP's utility. They can do a full execute onto the site. Not the same story for Astralis. 1 incendiary remaining. That's on Zipex. He could drop it just they walk in, which he does towards Squeaky, but here comes the play from NIP.
Astralis has Device behind that forklift. Pith again finds him, takes him down, and Freiburg out late from Highway spots up Cajun on the E-box. Zipex gets 1 kill, but he's found immediately. And it's on Dupree, 1 versus 4.
This is a really solid team effort from NIP. He's not someone carrying them. You look at the frag charts, 4 players have got 11 kills. Freiburg's the only one on 8. This is actually looking super solid across the board. Everyone's making the frags they need to, keeping 4 players alive, trading frags effectively. It's super impressive so far. This is a new look to NIP.
There were signs that they were building and improving as Pith, again, fittingly going to close it out. 11-4. There were signs they were building in Katowice when we saw them in the group. Again, it was the different group. It was the round-robin format, 6 teams in each with 12 teams total.
That was their first event with it, right? So that's the first time ever showing him on LAN.
And with Threat and the new sort of look from NIP. And they didn't make it through that group. They were the only team to beat Luminosity in their group. Yes. And they put up good numbers against pretty much everyone else. In fact, if they had to beat Mouse Sports, they would have made it through. And it was, I think, an overtime loss or 16-14, something along those lines. Point is, that was the first signs. When they go to the major, Pit doesn't make it. They still make their legendary status. This is the first big LAN that we've seen with the full 5. And they are looking much, much improved.
Really solid all-round stuff. There's in terms of like textbook Counter-Strike, they're approaching every situation perfectly. Even when they lose at the first man, they're not panicking, they're not rushing into situations. They're making sure they stick together, gain map control, executing correctly and making very good reads. Everyone's hitting all their shots as well, especially Forrest. His aim looks amazing right now. And Pitt, you called him out. His entry frags when he was getting into the bomb sites, completely wrecking them as he went in. 11 plays 4 now. NIP have a huge advantage. If they were to take this pistol, that's pretty much GG at this stage. Astralis need a bit of magic here. They're going to get the Desert Eagle out. I assume they'll give that to Dupree, which they will. He's got the raid boss. That's when you have the armor and upgraded pistol as well. They have 1 smoke to play with. We'll have a look at the buy for NIP as well. 4 sets of armor and Freiberg onto the defuse kit and flashbangs. Setup is heavy A stack. We don't normally see that too much on the pistol. Normally a retake mentality towards potentially going to be pushing in aggressively. First flashbang comes in.
It is clearly from Exist, starts it off. NIP with the advantage again. If they get this pistol, how quickly could they close this game? Get right.
He's hungry.
Flying Zipix. He'll ground him. Headshot midair. Dupree's outside of middle right now, trying to make something out of what is basically nothing at this point in time, because Get Right's also pushed up still in this squeaky position. He's going to get so much information over toward that A site as Dupree, Deagle, shots toward mid, can't find it. And Dupree with the Deagle is very good, but this is a big deficit to pull back.
Absolutely. NIP don't have to work too hard for this, but Get Right seems to want to challenge still. He does spot 2 players, decide to fall back. That's the right call. Astralis now with 1 smoke and a flashbang. There's still something to work with here as they make their way towards the B side of the map. Let's look at the minimap right now. NIP just completely spread out. Don't want to be committing to any situation. Allow themselves to retake, slow down as much as they can, and take them on in a 5-on-3. Forest towards CT spawn. To be backed up as well by Freiberg and Upper. Next kill has to go in the way of Astralis to have a chance here.
Freiberg falls away, but Forrest does get Dupree. That Deagle gone. It's only 2 to go now against 5. As the bomb going to get planted, so they should still be able to get a second round buy, a third round buy, an earlier buy.
Yeah.
Kerrigan through the smoke, gets a chance to get behind them, does catch off 1, just barely. Hardly going to be enough, and there it is, Pith to close it.
What a round there from NIP, going aggressive towards A. 2 players pushing in A storage and getting that first pick onto Device, completely took him down, and Get Right getting very aggressive in Squeaky Door, finds 2 kills, and that's the round over at that stage. NIP looking incredibly strong right now. Going to round number 2, like you said, we would assume... Oh, I like this. Astralis mixing things up, Matt. We would assume that a 3rd round buy would be coming in with the AKs. They're coming in now. So AK on towards Device. It's a big investment here. It's unorthodox, but at this stage, the big plays are required.
Yeah. This is the... We don't care, we need rounds play.
Oh, the grenades don't help,
give up number 13. Grenades do not help. Zipix down to 72 and Device on 55. He's the one with the AK.
Indeed.
He's going to face it still. Pith out toward white box, not in Z connector. Won't be able to spot him quite as easily as Device still holding this angle. Spots him up with the AK, but now they know they have it. Now they know they've gone for this buy, and it can't be a full buy, surely. So gives them the information they need.
You're absolutely right. He needed to find that kill before he gave away the info that he had the AK-47 in hand. But here we go then. Astralis have got mid-control. NIP falling back slightly. Looks like they will be flashing in towards A storage. Get Right getting towards self, towards lockers as well. So still up to Device to find this next pick, but there's nothing in middle to find. NIP playing this very defensively now, turtling on the A-bomb site. We have got Forrest in towards checkers as well, waiting for anyone to come towards events.
Dupree. Again with the Deagle, trying to clear out angles. Pith just waiting for it, and he gets it through the smoke. Bye-bye Device. That 55 HP haunts him, and now the AK-47 is dropped. Not recoverable, and Forrest lines up 2 more. It's all too easy. NIP. Kerrigan at least getting back into Forrest with a late push from the vents, but Pith gets Kerrigan. And NIP definitely going to have this round.
That was such a nice play from Forrest. They're getting flashing from his teammates towards checkers. Finds a double spray down. Device unable to do anything with that AK-47. And that's a big round for Astralis to drop. Force fire in the second, as I said. Not really something we see too often. But the desperation has come in for Astralis. There's the replay on your screen right now. Such good timing, good teamwork from NIP. Round number 18. It looks like another force buy from Astralis. Why not? It is 13-4. They need an absolute miracle here now. Going to be going with the Tech-9s. They have got utility. I'd assume when they execute this stage, try and do the smokes onto the bomb sign, rush through them, maybe jumping with the Tech-9, try and find that first kill. But it's looking like another round heavily favored towards the Swedes.
Get right up close to UMP. Tech-9's Deagle's on the other side of it, flashing himself in. It's too easy for Dupree. A little bit audacious from Get Right. He's just going to play behind this wall of smokes over toward Quad. Still has the FAMAS to work with, but they've got the UMP in Dupree's hands to go the other direction. No one spots it exist. He only hits one, though. Xyp9x turns around, and a 180 back the other way. He gets picked as well. He's not done yet. But Freiburg is able to finally manage him, despite going down to 32. Molotov out on top of the bomb, but it's already planted. Forrest holds against Kerrigan. They've got the FAMAS picked up, though. They are still trying to work it, but Freiburg hits Dupree. And Forrest, he's going to spar off one-on-one now as Device wins that. And the FAMAS, he hasn't drawn it yet. I assume it must not have ammo in the mag. He's got to have to go for the reload, and he's not comfortable doing so, and he's going to stick with the CZ.
Another flashbang available for Device. Bomb ticking away now. Freiburg has got the kit, but fully flashed once again. It's perfect utility usage. And the final kill comes in. It's Xyp9x actually, sorry, Device that gets it. The assist from Xyp9x, but that was actually very well played.
Very well played. He stays the pistol. I'm assuming he just wants the faster movement peaks. Because he did pick up the FAMAS, but he pulls it off. Big kill for them to get because they lost that force buy, that early force buy, and now they still have a similar situation. And it's AKs. Bought up onto Device and Cajun. Xyp9x has one as well. Kerrigan's going to go for the MP7, assuming there's not going to be much against him, but that's actually a bit of a mystery because NIP is going to force immediately into 2 M4s and a FAMAS on Pit.
The boost comes in for Freiburg as well. Let's see if he decides to go a little bit aggressive here. All the teams will be defensive and trying to hold that little flank. Good flashbang comes over. Full back Freiburg. You don't need to commit to that. They found the first pick. Just didn't really need to go more than that. Now he's giving the advantage back towards Astralis. I think all day long, if you find one kill in that situation, you fall back and get the hell out. He wanted more.
And they went. Astralis. And Dupree, by the way, who did have the Tech-9, has picked up that AK that was dropped. They went like they were going to go execution heavy because the reason they kept that Tech-9 on Dupree was so that he could also buy out full utilities, get a Molotov, which they now have 4, get an additional smoke, but 4-4, now they've got a chance to make that set play work.
This is the thing, the fact that NIP had such a weak buy as well, I knew what he was trying to do. I was hoping that flashbang was more effective than it was. Get around, find 2 kills, that's guaranteed round win, but considering they had a difficult buy going into this, I think the man advantage would have been enough just to justify falling back there. Looking like Astralis making their way towards B. It's going to be Dupree in the vents, the rest of his teammates in B storage, waiting to throw those smokes towards spawn, and here comes the play.
Dupree's already out of the vents as well. He's got the secondary approach. Pit, please don't touch me, fire. He's just going to hold this position, spots up one inside of it. They wouldn't have guessed because they would have thought it covered that off. Xyp9x does get the trade, but it's going to be Forrest who's going to stab them in the back, and Exist is there.
All right. It seemed like Astralis had that. That's the rights, but apparently the stack towards NIP on that B side to just allow them to find the decent crossfires there in Pit. I assume they're not checking that position. That Molotov's supposed to cover that, right? As you could see, it was like a few pixels away from burning Pit's feet, so they're just not aware that's even going to be a possibility for a CD player to be there. He gets away with it, just about gets that frag, takes all the aggro as well, and then the CZ player on the left-hand side of the side picks up 2 frags to finish things off. So difficult scenes here for Astralis. After it looked like they had some signs of life there. Going to round number 20, NIP 1 round away from map point. And it's Tech-9s and Desert Eagles and 1 CZ. And Dupree's gone down to 41 HP as well, so it's not looking too good.
It's looking pretty dire for Astralis. NIP, home soil. Want to send the Danes back across the bridge, back across the water. Licking their wounds. Remember, they were dismantled by the other Danish team, Dignitas, who topped the group 16-2. It was an absolute walloping, but they're going to go in. They're going to try and execute on this. Device goes, smokes out. Has gotten in behind the forklift. Exist going to fall off catwalk, thankfully. That'll give him the angle on this. He's going to check it as well. Device does find the shot, though. Nearly gets the transfer with a CZ of all things toward the second player, but it's Cajun B that finds Get Right. And just like that, they find Pit as well as Cajun continues on the drive-by shooting with that tech. It's the loss for the bomb plant as well, and Freiburg flashed. Clear the angles. Has to wait, though, for the second player at Highway, Forrest, to get in position, but the longer they take, the better this is for Device. He's walking up behind them. They'll get the kill. One on the site, traded. Cajun B goes down, and Forrest has this. It's a pistol. Oh, Device is so far away. It's so low, but Forrest repeaks him and gets it.
That's crazy. How much HP did he have? 19. 1 bullet required from Device there. Looked like the perfect flank coming in, but Device holds his nerve and wins the 2-on-1. And he hits NIP onto map point as well. 15-5. Astralis looked like they were so set to take that round. Entered in with a simple execution, a couple of smokes and flashbangs pushing through them. The Tech-9s found the first 3 kills as well, but that retake from Freiberg and Forest was just absolutely sensational. And that's going to be it now for Astralis' money once again. They get the bomb down and lost bonus. Not really too high right now. It's the second stage, so they get Tech-9s and an AK and a Galil. A little bit of utility, but I think they know this map is over. They'll be going towards the A site here, pushing in pretty quickly. 1 player towards Squeaky Door, and 3 towards the storage area. Will be molotoving through now, and Get Right pushed up. Pretty aggressive here.
I love it. Get Right just blocks Cajun B on the way through. Turns around, Cajun's got 1 kill. Get Right does find them though. Xyp9x, Cajun both go down. He's got the shot toward the bomb plant, but that's actually happening because it's in tight. It's not planted wide for A main, but it's still on the ground. NIP though, looking to close it, looking to get this over with quickly.
Yeah, that push from Get Right was great. Managed to find 2 kills, get them back into this, but Device not done quite yet. Gets the kill onto Forest. Now going to be a 2-on-2, but this looks like it might be done. Dupree stuck in a horrible situation. There it is. The final kill comes in for Get Right. Map 1 going in favor of NIP, and what a stomping it was. 16 plays 5. Great performance from them on both halves. The team working very effectively as a unit. Everyone contributing to the frag charts. No one carrying. Just good, effective, simple Counter-Strike. And it seems like they're revitalized in terms of the playbook as well. They had a good mix of defaults, set pieces, and this is looking great for them.
Number 1 in the world, not in attendance. Number 2 in the world, knocked out by Tai Lu. Number 3, they're through. That's Na'Vi. And number 4, Astralis. 1 map away from going home in groups as well.
Looks like a little bit rattled there. Every situation they had the man advantage seemed to be thrown away. Do you remember that big round as well? It was a 5-on-3, and Dupree went for that B storage push. It's big mistakes like that that completely affect your economy going forward and can get you into that rut, the double ecos, and actually gets the team bickering as well, kind of questioning themselves. Why are you doing these pushes? Why are we doing this? We need to make sure we're winning this round. It's a huge game. Everything's on the line, but NIP weren't making those mistakes.
They were very well disciplined. And I mean, Astralis, you usually expect them to make a case out of this. It's like Thorin said, you know, time seems to stop and they bring the best, but that was not very well executed all from Device and Co, giving up a lot of kills for free, giving away the advantages. 5 versus 3, they lose those rounds, but they've got to regroup. They've got to get this back together. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, Astralis, is it choking in the groups or is it going to be survival?